Hey bro, in this video I'm going to be explaining how to escalate on a date. So what you want to do is you want to increase the escalation very slowly. So you want to start off with something very minor, like for example, I don't know, like you touch her leg with your leg. So let's say you sit next to each other and your legs are touching, right? This is very minor, and it can happen, with a guy, a friend, a guy that as a friend. So that's how you want to start it. You want to start escalation really slowly and see how she reacts to it. If she likes it, then you can slowly increase it. So this is what I would actually suggest for you to do, not to go from like 0 to 100. Let's say 100 would be I don't know, like sleeping with her, and 50 is a kiss. You're going to start from 0, right? You turn up on a date and you're at 0, and what you do is straight from the beginning, maybe you kiss on her cheek or something like that, right? So now you're at 10, right? And when you're on a date, maybe she's got some rings, some jewelry, and what you do is you say, oh, that's an interesting ring, let me have a look. Like, actually, I was just on an instant date right now, and what I did was I said, oh, that's a nice nail polish you have, let me have a look. And then she gave me a hand, I had a look, and then I actually teased her a little bit. I said, oh, some parts of the nail polish is missing. She said, yeah, it's really odd, I'm gonna go actually get a new one today. So that was an excuse for me to take a hand. And this is what I was suggesting in the beginning, but then after, you don't need an excuse anymore. You could just, grab a hand. Let's say you're walking from a first venue, which is a coffee shop, to a bar, and then you could grab a hand because let's say you're crossing the road and you want to make sure she's safe. This is actually really good to do when you're walking around with women, is to make sure that they feel safe whenever you're crossing the road, or you go somewhere, maybe there's water on the ground or something, maybe slippery. Make sure that, I know it sounds like a very small thing, but you got to do these things on a date because you want her to know that, okay, you care about her and you're going to look after her, even though it's a small thing here. But also then you can escalate as well, which is perfect, right? So it's kind of like, you hit two birds with one stone. I'm actually in Budapest right now. So you can see behind me is a beautiful view. It is raining a little bit, but the view is fantastic. So yeah, now we go on to the next one. After that, what you can do is you can put your hand around, let's say you're sitting on a sofa now, you put your hand around her and you bring her in a little bit, right? And she's kind of, she's leaning towards you, and now it's kind of this romantic vibe. It's kind of like she's your girlfriend, right? That's what you want to really do when you're on a date, is treat her like she's your girlfriend. Obviously, I wouldn't start kissing her from the beginning. So that, that's the only thing that's different if it was your girlfriend, but you slowly escalate to the kiss. And the way you do that is, as I mentioned, you go slowly from, 5 to 10 to 15. And then let's say after you bring her in, the next step is you take your hand, put it on your leg, or you put your hand on her leg. And usually what happens is, when you escalate, you get 3 responses. The first one is the yes, which she likes it, and then that means you can go to the next step, not straight away. I would wait for, I don't know, a few minutes. So let's say if I hold her hand and she likes it and she squeezes my hand back, I would actually drop her hand, not immediately, but after, let's say, a few minutes, and then wait for another 5 minutes, and then I will go for, let's say, the hug, right? Bring her in. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to increase it immediately. You don't want to go from one step to the next one, because that would be just way too try hard. After that one, you put your hand on the leg. Then what you could do, there's a lot of games as well you can play, by the way. So there's an app that I usually play. It's called I Never Party. This app is really good, and it actually asks some fun questions, which makes the date very interesting. But I'll make another video on that, because that's something that requires a little bit more insight, let's say, to know how to play it and when to play it and stuff like that. But games are really good. There's another game that you could play. It's where you say, oh, you smile a lot. Let's play this game. You're not allowed to smile, right? And you look into her eyes. You could even grab her hand and you give her sexual eyes, right? So it's good for, making the interaction a bit more sexual. and then they usually smile first. But yeah, you just look into eyes, and then whoever smiles first loses. So this is another way to escalate the interaction. So yeah, now you're going to go for the kiss, right? This is the point where you're going to go for the kiss. And what you're going to do is give it a upside down triangular gaze, right? Which means you look in the left eye, you look at lips, you look in the right eye, then you go back to the left eye, and you do this obviously slowly. And if you notice she's doing the same, or she's obviously, you know, ready for the kiss, then you can go for the kiss. And what I would do actually here is I would decrease the proximity. So get closer to her, make it a bit more sexual, and you would know anyway when it feels right. And by the way, this is one thing I was going to say is calibration is extremely important when it comes to escalation. So if you get a no, which means she's just not into the escalation, don't go to the next step. Just back off, and obviously she's not into the escalation. Maybe, I don't know, she thought you guys are friends or something, right? But that's rare, isn't it? Because you're on a date and she likes you, so she will be open to escalation only if you do it correctly. And then the other thing is the maybe. If you get the maybe, which means she's not completely into it and she's not completely not into it, so somewhere in the middle, what I would do there, it probably means that you haven't built enough of a good connection. So I will stop, I will back off, maybe in 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Once I build a good connection, then I would go back in again. So this is actually a good way to calibrate to the escalation.